Hey guys, what's going on? It's Matt, trying to live in 943. In today's video, I have blogger number 28 here on the PRR Keystone. Alright, so since the last time you guys have seen the layout in a blog, which has been about 3 months or so, I really haven't been doing a whole lot of work on the layout. However, as you guys have seen from recent videos, I did get some new items in, and I've been slowly working slash playing with those. So one of them is right here, this Tuscan Red K4 that I got from DJ. Amazing piece, and I'll talk more about the items in a minute, but I'll show you some of the layout work I have done, and also some really cool future plans I'm really excited for. So, alright, let's take a look. Alright, so this is the big news for this blog video, and that is the engine house. So this is the Prozis engine house. You can get this directly from Prozis. I got this from Mario's Trains. I got this and the Broadway Limited water tower, which you'll see in a minute here. So this engine house, it's really been a fun build. I'm really having a ball with it. It's not done by any means. I still got work to do on it. I got to do the whole interior yet. I got exterior work to do. I got to do the windows, which will be a boatload of fun. And then I'm having some issues with the doors. They're not working right, so I got to take a look at that. But it looks really nice, and the whole structure is here. So it's really a pretty neat looking building. So inside here I have currently 2 legacy diesels, and it looks really cool, so I'm really happy with it overall. Alright, so here's just a quick look at the interior here. So it looks really pretty cool. Now, one thing I did with the lighting, well, I did a couple things. The first thing I did was I tidied up the wiring. The wiring that comes from the factory with the lights is just, it's a million miles of wire. So I went ahead and tied it into just this little bundle here, so it looks pretty cool. I got some quick plugs on there so I can take it on and off, and also the lighting itself. So for the lighting, the kit comes with LED strips. Well, the LEDs that it comes with it's enough to fit in this trough piece here. However, it's just a slight bit too short. So what I did was I used my own LEDs. So you actually could fit another line of LEDs, which is 3 LEDs. There's 3 LEDs per little strip. So I actually was able to fit 6 more LEDs. So I think there's like 42 LEDs that are in here. So if I turn the light off above us here, that's what it looks like. It's really, really cool looking. Really happy with this. Alright, so now to facilitate putting in the engine house, I had to do some rearranging of the yard stalls in the yard here. So what I did was I have the track where the 2 switchers in the engine house is. I have my Y switch, and now it's not wired in yet. I just moved it from over here, and I'll explain why it's not wired in a minute. But over here now I have my steam section, and I kind of almost like the look of the single track for the steam, because I'm eventually going to have some bigger steam engines like the J that you see here, and I'll probably get some other bigger locomotives, so I kind of need the extra length. So I like it. But I got some more updates that I'm going to be doing to this engine yard, which I'll talk about in the future plans section. But for now, it's basically all we have here. So we'll talk about new items next, and then we'll talk about some future plans. Alright, so obviously the new items first and foremost include the building. So we have the engine house, and then we also have the Broadway Limited water tower, which I'll show you that now. Alright, so I'll show you about this.
That burn water everywhere. Make a half everywhere.
Time to roll.
Like I said, this is the Broadway Limited water tower. MTH, they make a similar version of water tower with the sounds and everything. It's a bigger footprint because it's a different style tower, but it's the same general idea. So I don't know. I might look into that now. When I got this water tower, I originally said I was going to get it, but now that I'm changing things around, it might not really be a reason to get it. So we'll see. But nevertheless, this is a really cool piece. So I'll move on now. Alright, next up I have a piece for the end of the train, which is this Reading camera caboose. This is from Lionel, and I wanted one of these camera cabooses. I really wanted the Santa Fe version to go along with the Santa Fe reefers that I have, which actually is on the other end of the camera here. So, but unfortunately I couldn't find one, so I got the Reading one, which that's okay. It's a beautiful car, and it's got the camera in it, so the camera feature, if you don't know, it broadcasts to the phone. You can do it on the computer, on the TV, whatever you want. And it's a really pretty cool feature. So you can watch the train go around and have the camera. So it's a really awesome car. They also make the Vistadome cars, and they also make the theater observation cars. They all got the same camera in there, which is really pretty cool. So I did a video on this if you want to check it out. It's on my YouTube channel for you. So I'm really hoping, though, soon we get it with an engine. So maybe, who knows. But alright, we got some really cool items to take a look at next. Alright, forgive me that it's so far back. That's just the best shot I could get of it. So another new item is this MTH Premier Proto 1 611J. This engine is fantastic. I got this in a trade from Sid, and I traded him my Weaver 280 and my Pennsylvania Reading Seashore E6 for this engine, and I'm really, really happy with this. It's a beautiful model, and it starts my 90s steam collection. Alright, so I'm saving the best for last here. This is none other than the Lionel Legacy Tuscan Red K4, and I got this from DJ about a week or so ago since the time of this filming here. So this engine, to say it's fantastic is an understatement. I've wanted this engine, well, not only period, but from him, I've wanted it for about 3 years. So I finally own it, and I am so happy with this. I'm tickled. Well, can't say pink, maybe tickled Tuscan. But anyway, this is a beautiful model, and behind it I just have some passenger cars, some just my standard mixed passenger train. So eventually I'll finish the Trailblazer for this, and it'll be a fantastic set once it's all done. So I've got another cool thing to show you. It's not a train, but it's something really cool, and then we'll talk about some future plans. Alrighty, so here's the big off layout news for this vlog video, is that I did some shelving. Now this is on the opposite section of the basement where the layout is at. It's actually my desk that I inherited from my grandfather. So I got this little section over here, which was a blank wall, and I figured, okay, I actually was just going to put just the top shelf that you see with the Copper Queen on it. It's cut off in the photo, but I got a little memoriam wall for my grandfather, and that's really cool. I'm very happy with the way that turned out. I got a picture of him, and I also have some Mark's accessories on there. So it's really, really cool. I'm really touched to see that. Every time I look at that, I think of him. It's just really awesome. So then underneath that, I have some shelves. So the shelves, the first three with the Promontory Summit set, that nickel plate caboose, and the Rail King flat car there, that was the mistake shelf, I guess, if you want to call it that. The set with the Promontory Summit, that shelf, I made the mistake of using 4-inch shelf brackets to hold it up, so it's a little further out, and then the other two on either side I accidentally used 1x3-inch boards. I meant to use 1x4s, which that's what all the rest of it is. It's all 1x4s, and I stained it with Golden Oak is the name of the stain. So it looks really pretty cool. So I've got a bunch of shelves and a bunch of stock on it, and then on the desk itself I have the Dale Earnhardt set that I got from a friend. last summer. So that's pretty cool. I don't really run that a whole heck of a lot, but I figured I might as well show it. So there it is. So that way it's not sitting in the box. So it's really pretty cool. So I'm really happy with this. And my eventual plan is to do the other shelves that I have in kind of a similar fashion, with not having a lot of space between the shelves, so that way I can fit more stuff. So I'll get to that eventually, but I'm really happy with the way this is turning out. It looks great. So it's pretty cool. So let me know what you guys think on it. I really like it a lot. And I'm sure some of you guys are going to ask, so I answer it. The length of this shelf here with these reefers on it, it's 70 1/4 inches, which that's the length of this wall. And with the desk, I couldn't fit it all the way down because of the desk. So these other three are 55 1/4 inches, and it fits everything I have really well. So, and I also made one long enough for the double stacks. So that's pretty cool, which I'm phasing these out because I'm not really into modern rolling stock, but it's still pretty cool. So as far as some other stuff I have over here, I have the Mark's Gerard station, which I pulled from the layout because, you know what, it was cool, but it just didn't fit the mold of the layout. It was kind of, it's tin plate, toy-like, which, not that there's anything wrong with that, it didn't fit what I was doing, so I went ahead and put it over here. So it looks pretty cool. They also have the Millennium boxcar. It's not new, I've used it, but I figured I'll keep it in the box because why not? So that's pretty cool. And then I also have another little shelf for some engine. I happen to have the Southern Railway SD70 on here, which I'm actually looking at getting rid of that too. So if you're interested, let me know. I also have the cars for it that are online too. So if you're interested in any of that, just hit up my email. We can talk about it. So, but some really pretty cool stuff. I'm really happy with how this section's turning out. Alrighty, so like I said, I am selling some stuff from my collection. So what I'm doing is I'm listing the items on the OGR forum. And I'm doing that because I listed one set of passenger cars on eBay, and the amount of money they took was crazy. So I pulled everything and I'm going to do it on the forum. So what I'll do is I'll link in the description the forum post so you guys can take a look at it. And if there's something you see of interest, just email me and we'll talk about it. So I'm happy though that I'm selling stuff because it allows me to have more space and funds for other new items to come. So hint hint, there might be some new stuff to show on the videos here. So that's about it though on the selling front. So like I said, if you see something, just email me and we'll talk about it. So we'll move on now. Alrighty, so in the back here, what is just a bunch of boxes and chaotic mess will eventually be something really cool. So what I'm going to do back here is I'm going to have this area be a storage yard for my subways. So I'm going to have 3 stall tracks here. I'm going to have one that'll be long enough for the bigger sets, like when I eventually get the N train or R40 slants or even MU cars, something like that. And then I'll have other 2 that'll be long enough for a 6-car BMT set or maybe even an 8-car IRT set, depends on the length, but that's going to be really pretty cool. So this walkway area here, that's going to stay open, but where you see all the boxes, that'll eventually be covered with wood for the yard. So that's going to be really pretty cool. And then up above, so probably like where those shipper boxes are back there, I'll have a section with buildings and all kinds of stuff, kind of like a New York City street thing. So that'd be pretty cool. And then I'm thinking for the underground section, I'm going to give that some sort of New York City name. I'm thinking 34th Street Penn Station on the IND line, just because that's a similar style station designed to what I'll be doing. So I'll probably use that station. So that'd be pretty cool. So look forward to that. Probably, I'd like to get started on it fall, but I don't know. It depends on money and work and school and all of that. So, but that's going to be that. So it's getting there slowly but surely. So this will be something really cool once it's all wrapped up. Alright, so another thing I'm kicking around is the idea of putting either a residential area over here or another yard. So if I was to do residential, where the houses are and the TV, what I would do is I would replace this rolling file cabinet with a piece of board and then have shelving underneath it for storing boxes and stuff. So that would be pretty cool. Or another thing I'm thinking of is where the shipper box is next to the TV. I would put a switch that would go from the subway yard into a yard over here, and I could use that for, like I said, more subways or something like that. The only trouble thing is I would have to build the TV up on some sort of board, so almost like a tunnel kind of thing, which I'm not really thrilled with. But I don't know, I'm still kind of kicking that idea around. But I don't know, let me know what you guys think on that. But I think it'd be pretty cool to have something over here besides just, just the TV. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think on that. Alright, so another track thing I'm going to be working on is the passing setting here on the front of the layout. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to redesign it. So I'm debating on doing switches. I'm thinking either leaving these 36-inch switches that are here or replacing them with 72s. Because the problem with this passing setting is it's not quite long enough for, if I was to do the end train, it would not fit the whole end train. It would be ever so slightly too short. I mean, by ever so slightly, I mean like 2 inches. So it's annoying, but what I'm thinking of doing here is doing the whole length of the passing siding, doing passenger stations. Either the prefab MTH or making my own. And what I would make it as, I would make it similar to Queensboro Plaza in Queens. So that would be kind of cool. So I'm thinking of doing some sort of loose representation of that in here. And because the whole end train wouldn't fit, I would probably do the 72, and then the track would end up probably about where this passenger station is here, which that would be fine. I would just need it long enough to fit passenger platforms, and that's all it would be. So I'm still kicking around that idea of how I want to do it. I will do it. It's just a matter of how I want to do it. I got to lay it all out and figure it all out, but it's getting there. Alright, so the list ain't done yet. So another thing I'm going to do, and this will happen eventually, like I said, when I can afford it and not buy trains and buy stuff for the layout, is I'm going to replace all of my main switches, especially on the crossover here, and I'll eventually be doing another crossover when I get around to it. I'm going to be replacing these switches with 72-inch switches. Had I known that I would have been able to fit 72-inch switches from the get-go, I would have just bought all of them. I had no idea I could. I thought they were bigger than they actually were. So it actually would increase the space between the inside and outside track on the front of the layout, which is huge because I've had problems with steam engines hitting the train on the other track. But so I'm going to do that eventually, so that way it will be 72. I can run the big stuff, the J, through this, which I can't do it now, so I can't really run it into the yard. When I showed it with the water tower, I just put it there for the scene. But it's it'll get there, and like I said, as time and money permit. Alright, then another thing I'm going to do, and this will take a little bit of visualization, so we'll jump on the computer in a minute. So, is I'm going to basically redesign my entire engine yard. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a 72-inch switch with a 90-degree crossover for just the ABA themselves. That's all that's going to be on that section. And then I'll have a completely different section for the engine house and my steam area. So what we'll do is we'll jump on the computer and I will show you what I'm talking about with all of this layout work coming right now. Alright, so to put this all in perspective, we have the diagram of the layout now. It's a little weird because it's not finished, but it's the general idea of what it'll be like. And forgive me, I'm not using a screen recorder. I really should, but I'm not. So, in the back here, which is what we'll start off with first. So right here, this is the back. This is the crossovers in the back. So this is where the 72-inch crossovers will be. So I've got the right-hand set here, which these will be the 36s that I'll eventually replace. Then I have this new section, which if I back up a little bit, we have these two for either direction. So then for the engine yard, I move over. There we are. We've got this. So for the ABAs, which is really my main goal and why I really want to redo the engine yard to begin with. So it's got this switch right here, and it leads on to this little lead here with this 22.5-degree crossover. So then directly off the crossover, is going to be this Y, and that's going to be for the ABAs. So it'll be basically the same length it is now, which I think is 40 inches, something like that, for the ABA. So it'll be, you know, basically all of this space in here. And then for the steam and the diesels that are not ABAs, it would go on this switch right here, which is just off screen here. It'll go through the crossover. It'll go into this 60-degree curve, which I would have liked 72, but can't fit it, so I do the best I can. And then if it goes straight through, it'll go into this Y, which will be for the diesel facility with the engine house. And then if it takes the curve, it'll go onto here. And this is where the confusion is going to happen, because I'm not sure how tight this is going to be. I wish I could put a diagram of the engine house, but I can't. So I'm thinking if I can't fit 2 tracks of reasonable length, and by reasonable length I mean like at least 25 inches in this space, because with the curve I could probably push a 30-inch steam engine on there and it would be okay. But if it doesn't work, what I would do is I would abandon the Y and just do a straight track all the way through. So it'll be a longer straight track, but that way I could store longer stuff on there. So we'll see on that. And then up here we have the yard. So for the yard, the curves on here, by the way, the curves, I talked about this last year and still haven't gotten around to it yet. But the curves, it'll be the 44.5-inch curves. So it starts off as a 048 curve, so I just replaced it with an 048 switch. So it would go into here, into this switch, which if you take it straight, would take it into the Y here. I'll just run down the length of the track, but it's a 90-inch track. Let me back up a little bit there. There we go. It's a 90-inch track, so with the curves, I could definitely do a BMT 6-car set here, which is cool. And then the long one, which I can just barely get in this whole shot, that would be for the end train, for anything bigger that's longer than 90 inches would go in here. So, and then the part I'm still figuring out is back over here. Oh, and then it would obviously branch back onto the outside main. But the part I'm still figuring out is back here. So if I was to do the end here, the siding, it would be off of the long track right here, and then it would go directly into a Y into, I could just barely fit a 90-inch straight here. So I really could put BMT subways. I could do really whatever I wanted to do in this section. I'm still mulling it over yet, but I'm thinking. So that's just kind of the ideas rolling in my head here. Oh, and then here's for the front, for the pass. I don't know. I'm still up in the air, like I said, with the switches. I need to figure out if I want to do 72. I could do 72. I could keep the 36s that are in there now. If I kept the 36s, I would just keep the curve pattern like this, and that's just how it would be. So I'm up in the air on it. So if any of you guys have any suggestions or anything, just let me know. I'd be more than willing to hear them, and let me know what you guys think on this. So, alrighty, got one more thing to talk about, and then that'll wrap up this video here for today. Alright, so the final thing I'm going to work on is a new control station. Now, I know I've done a million of them just for this layout alone, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to completely tear down the station that I have, which is to the left of your screen, that stained, it's actually an old nightstand. I'm going to run it so I have all the controls up on the top, my switch remotes, the remote for the engine house, which I never got a chance to show you, but that's it right there. It's a pretty neat little unit. Have the legacy base, and then behind it I'll have the TIU. I'll get an AIU or maybe even two, depending on how many I need, for switch control, and also for the yard stalls. I'll run all the yard stalls through the MTH system, and I'll eventually get the Wi-Fi. I've been meaning to do that too, but I've been so busy buying trains I haven't had a chance to buy the Wi-Fi unit, but I will eventually do that. So, but that'll be pretty cool. And then I've actually already ordered it. I'm going to be replacing my CW80 with a K-line fixed voltage transformer, which that'll be in for the next blog video. It's on its way at the time of this filming here, so look forward to that. So, but lots of cool stuff, lots of really fun updates. Between all the new stuff I've got and all the stuff I'm wanting to do, it's going to be a lot of fun here in the next couple months here. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed this blog video. I know it was kind of lengthy and I had a lot of stuff to talk about, but you know what? It's part of being on the layouts. So, alrighty guys, you take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Alright, so here's the last thing for today's blog video, and that is I recently started a podcast. So it's myself and Matt from West Chicago Railroad, and him and we got together during all this COVID stuff, and we were talking and said, you know what, why don't we start doing a podcast about model railroading? So here we are. So you guys can check it out. I'll link the description for the podcast, and you guys can take a look at it. Let us know what you think, and we greatly appreciate your support. So until the next one, guys, you take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.